To quote an old monkey song, sometimes it's just not your day. And that's what it was for the Houston Astros today. It just, from Christian Javier to Hector Neris, it just wasn't the pitching staff's day today. They gave up 7 runs and uh, 5 walks, 2 home runs. It just was not a great game overall. And we'll talk about what the heck just happened on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast that starts now.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Astros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. And you can find the show at Locked On Astros. And thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Just press that little red button and go ahead to listen to us on your way to work, on your way home to work, wherever you listen to us. And dang, this game, I don't know what just happened to this game, but however you listen to us, just make us your first listen. And even after games like this, where you have Dusty Baker just being like, why am I ejected? That's because the warnings were given to both sides. And when that happens, you have to get ejected. And that's what happened in this game. So, this was a game that started off pretty good. I know that Christian Javier gave up the run in the first inning, but then you had Jose Altuve hit the leadoff home run. And then you had Christian Javier kind of fall apart. We'll talk about a little bit more about what happened there. But then you had the Astros rally again off Robbie Ray and score 3 runs in the second inning. So after 2 innings, it was a 4-4 game, and it looked like it was going to be a piece of cake for the Astros. They're going to be able to come back. And then all of a sudden, then Christian Javier just kind of lost it again. He just looks like he's struggling a little bit. He struggled with his pitch count in his last pitch game. I think he threw 90 pitches in 4 innings last game, and this one he threw 90 pitches in 3 2/3 innings, and he allowed 5 earned runs. He just didn't look like he was the same Christian Javier that's dominated the Seattle Mariners all these years. And so we'll look at what happened to Christian Javier. There were some bright spots in this game. The Astros offense came alive, and also Yordan Alvarez. It's official. He signed that official extension, and a lot of the players were actually at the press conference, and we've seen that in the past, like during spring training when Jose Altuve and when you had players like Alex Bregman sign those extension, when all the players are there to kind of celebrate and say, hey, we're here to back you. And that was a big move. So this is kind of stuff that we're going to be addressing on this Locked On Astros podcast. But let's go and start off with some of the positive stuff before we look at this game. Because we're going to talk about this game, and I want to hear what Dusty Baker has to say a little bit about what happened in the 9th inning, because this is 2 days in a row that you have Astros pitchers throwing at somebody or throwing behind somebody or at somebody in the 9th inning, and it's getting a little bit annoying, and it's like the Astros are becoming the bad boys of baseball or something. So James Click said that Yordan is one of the most complete hitters in the game of baseball, and is a combination of plate discipline and his approach to power to all fields and ability to hit any pitch that is thrown to him makes him an elite hitter at the plate. And Altuve said, I think that he's the best player I've ever played with. He's amazing what he can do. So you're talking about someone that's played with the likes of George Springer, Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman. And so he's saying Alvarez is one of the best hitters he's actually played with. That's saying something from somebody like Jose Altuve, who's likely, unless you have a lot of people that are going to say cheater when it comes to Hall of Fame, but this is a future Hall of Famer saying that Alvarez is probably the best player he's played with. So, these are names of players who were actually at Alvarez's press conference day. It was Odorizzi, Altuve, Diaz, Gurriel, Brantley, Maldonado, Kyle Tucker, and then also Alex Centrone, the hitting coach, was there as well. And so I saw this note on Twitter that in his first 281 MLB games, he has 75 plus home runs, a plus 950 plus OPS, and then 300 plus hits. He is one of two players since 1901 to accomplish this in such a span. The other is Chuck Klein, who is an MLB Hall of Famer. So James Click started the news conference by saying that Alvarez leads the Astros in average, on base, slugging, home runs, RBIs, triples, and in a homage to Bill Durham, balls that travel so far that they need a stewardess. So I thought that was a good kind of thing to kind of get the ball going in that conference. And so just seeing that what they did for Alvarez, it kind of makes you want them to do the same thing for Kyle Tucker. Get him done now. And I know that Brett and I did a podcast this weekend. And if you haven't checked it out, go get our instant reaction. But the Astros really got a good deal on this. And here's some thoughts from Jim Crane on Alvarez. He says, I think that it's a good deal for him and it's a good deal for us. We're happy for him and glad he's going to be here for a while. He's playing great, so we look pretty smart right now. We really have a lot of confidence in him. I think it's just going to continue to back up what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep a numbers of players, a core group under contract for a period of time and build around that and always stay competitive year in and year out. And so he says we're trying to put a quality product on the field for the fans, and this reinforces that. And we want to keep as many good players as we can under contract and compete for titles. In other words, if we would have signed Carlos Correa, we probably wouldn't have brought back Alvarez. So, So this was the good news of the day, and this is what basically Aledmys Diaz said. Why did all these players show up? He said, well, we love him. He's earned the respect from the whole team. And Alvarez also replied when he saw that the whole team kind of showed up to support him. He said, man, I wasn't expecting them all to come. And that really means a lot to me. So, of course, Alvarez still looks good. I mean, he got one walk. He didn't really have any big hits in this game, but he also was the player of the week for the last week. And so you can't really keep on thinking he's going to hit like crazy all the time, but he was a player of the week. I believe he had 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, batted .580 something. I'm looking for the stat right now, but overall, he's just been crushing it. And I think that this was the perfect time for the Astros to capitalize on not only signing him for a cheap rate, but also Alvarez for showing the Astros, hey, I can stay healthy. I can play the outfield. I can do what it takes to get it done. And that's what they did. And he showed that he has the right parts for the job. Just like if you need the right parts for your automobile, go to rockauto.com. With the ever-increasing number of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why go ask a question like, I need a part for this. I have a Ford Explorer. They're going to be like, well, what Explorer do you have? I don't know. But if you go to rockauto.com, they're going to ask you the questions and you can actually they'll walk you through it. And if you have a computer that has access to rockauto.com, you could do it in your pocket, and it's just really easy. So you save time and money when using rockauto.com. Why choose to spend 30% and 50% or even 100% more for the same parts than a chain store or car dealership? For example, you can buy a fuel pump for $353 for a Honda Odyssey from a chain store, but it's $216 at Rock Auto. Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solutions to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, Locked On, and in there, how'd you hear about us box, so that they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car ever need. rockauto.com. All right, so now that we kind of addressed the Yordan Alvarez extension, let's go ahead and look at tonight's game. This night was kind of close. Christian Javier, he's still 3-3 on the season with the 3.22 ERA. His last two starts, his last start, he didn't allow any earned runs. He just only lasted 4 innings. This start, he allowed 5 earned runs. He just didn't look great. He hit the batter, then immediately he gave up the home run, and then I believe there's already somebody on base at that point. So it just seems like he just couldn't get out of trouble like he's done in the past. And he's dominated the Mariners in the past, especially at Minute Park. So this was, in fact, that was the first home run he's allowed to the Mariners in his career. So there's a lot of first in this. And that was the first run that Christian Javier has allowed in 3 career starts, totaling 8 1/3 innings against Seattle. When he allowed the first run in the first inning. So there's a lot that happened there. And so it just was weird to see Christian Javier struggle against. You can't continue to dominance forever against one team, but still Christian Javier was just a little bit off. And his overall stats was 3 2/3 innings, allowed 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 1 homer, 1 hit by pitch, 1 wild pitch, 90 pitches, 53 strikes. So it just wasn't an overall great game. And that was the only 4th home run that Javier allowed this season. And that was the first homer that he's allowed to as a Mariner in his career, like I said earlier. So it just overall, he just didn't look confident, and he only lasted the 3 2/3 innings. But it just didn't look like it was his day. But Seth Martinez came in, and he continues to keep on pitching shutout innings, keeps on getting job done. And I think that Seth Martinez, once the bullpen is fully healthy, he's gonna stay, and he's earned his keep. He had 3 strikeouts today. Then you had Parker Mashinsky come in, and he gave up. He didn't do it. He gave up 2 walks and in 1 inning. Then Stanek continued his scoreless streak, and then Matan came in, and then Neris came in the 9th inning. That was an inning that a lot of people want us to kind of, It was kind of weird, that 9th inning. I know that Neris has had a great season. This kind of inflated his ERA a little bit. It's up to 3, and I think it was in the ones before this game, or maybe a little bit higher. I didn't look before the game, but in 2/3 innings, he allowed 1 hit. He had allowed 2 earned runs on the home run. But the big issue was he hit the batter. And what happened was, I don't know if this was carryover from the day before. I know it's 2 different teams, but people watch SportsCenter, people watch ESPN or whatever. They see what happened with Presley the day before. So they see what happened yesterday, and they're like, okay, well, we know that we scored 7 runs against y'all, or actually at that time, it wasn't 7 runs. It was only the 5 runs, of course. But then you have Neris, who's normally a pretty reliable pitcher, especially this year. He comes in and throws a ball that barely touches Ty France's jersey at the back. So it barely clips, and like you could barely see it. In fact, the announcers were like, well, I don't know if it hit him, but it did. So Scott Service took exception to that, and he started barking at Neris saying, you can't be doing that, and started shouting at the Astros dugout and saying, oh, you know what? We can do that too. We can start playing that dirty ball too. And so that's when the dugouts started emptying. And so that's when you saw both dugouts go, and you saw what the funny part was that Dusty Baker and Ty France were next to each other, and Dusty Baker's like, did that hit you? And I mean, I don't know what they're saying, but I can imagine there's like, did that ball hit you? And Ty France was probably like, yeah. Do you think it was intentional? No, I think it probably just slipped, but I don't know what they were saying. But it just, the benches emptied, nothing happened, but they had to toss somebody. So the umpires got together and they went ahead and tossed Scott Service. And then they went ahead and tossed who was they also tossed Omar Lopez as well from the Astros, because they had to toss somebody, and I guess that he was having words with Scott Service. And so Scott Service was like, okay, I'll take the fall, and he left. And then Omar Lopez had his words. He's like, okay, but this is bull. Like, he wasn't throwing behind him. There's no reason to throw him. It's a close game, 5-4. There's no reason for them to be doing that. So basically from that point, then they issued the warnings. And then from there, you have Julio Rodriguez up. Julio Rodriguez is one of those kids who's competing against Jeremy Pena for the Rookie of the Year. And I think Neris was a little shaken up from the whole incident, because he just didn't look like he had his great command. He didn't look like he had his good command, period. But definitely he didn't look like he had his good command after that. He threw inside to Julio Rodriguez, and Rodriguez kind of stared him down like, you're really going to do this again? But remember that they went ahead and issued the warnings to both sides. So if something happened that looked a little fishy, they had to issue to eject the pitcher and the manager. So then from there, Neris threw the pitch, and he lost control of it, and it went above. Actually, I think that Rodriguez hit the home run. Yeah, that's what happened. Rodriguez hit the home run first. Then I believe they got Crawford out, or something happened to Crawford. But then Suarez was up, and that's when Neris threw the ball, and it basically Suarez had a duck, because the ball, Neris lost control, and it went beside his head. And so because the warnings were issued, they had to eject Dusty Baker and Neris. And Neris is like, the ball slipped. I was not doing it on purpose. I promise. But it didn't matter at that point, because what happened was happened. And so Neris tried to kind of argue his point. And then he also had Dusty Baker out there saying, hey, that was not on purpose. We're already down. Why would we do that on purpose? And so it just was a bad look on both sides. And so the Astros overall, let me see, both Hector, according to Danielle Lerner, both Hector Neris and Dusty Baker said it was not intentional to hit Ty France in 9th inning. I did not think it was intentional. He just looked like he had no control of his pitches in that game. Sometime as a pitcher, you're just not going to have control. And so it just was that type of game for the Astros. Sometimes you're going to be great. The Astros still have an 8.5 game lead in the AL West, so you can look at the positive, or you can just focus on the negative. But this game was just bad all around, and it's like one of those games that you're going to look back on if you finish whatever. The Astros have this big lead right now, but this game is going to be one of those that if you finish like one game behind in the AL West at the end of the season, you're going to look back at this game and be like, that was the game that got away. But I don't think this one game, you know what? With the umpires, they should have just had a Built Bar instead of worrying about all the little drama. Just get a Built Bar. How about a caramel brownie? Don't you love a chewy chocolate brownie? What about a caramel brownie with caramel swirled on top? So good. What if I told you can have all the chewy, chocolatey deliciousness plus 17 grams of protein? Well, you're in luck because caramel brownie bars are available at built.com right now. And you got to act fast because they're a fan favorite. Forget about dessert. These are better than dessert. Plus, the macros are unreal. What about 130 calories, 17 grams of protein, and only 4 grams of sugar? I would replace a regular brownie with Built's caramel brownie in a heartbeat. And I know Brett would as well. The best part is that caramel brownies bars are covered in 100% real chocolate, like for real. With Built, you don't have to sacrifice tasty for healthy. You can have both. And all of Built bars are made with collagen protein, which helps your body absorb more efficiently and provides ton of healthy benefits. With Built's, tasty is the new healthy. Go to built.com and get your box of caramel brownies right now. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. And we have an important favor to ask you. We've put together a survey so we can learn more about our listeners like you and make your favorite Locked On podcast even better. This is your opportunity to tell us what you like and what you don't like about Locked On Podcast. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/surveys right now to get started. It won't take very long, and everyone that completes the survey can qualify for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Ticketmaster gift cards. To take our audience surveys, go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey, and thanks for your help. All right. So let's go ahead and look at what you are saying in the chats. So a lot of people are saying that Julio Rodriguez is going to go on to bulletin board. Yeah, especially after the home run and that look that he gave Neris after that. I think, Julio Rodriguez is going to become a pretty big thorn in the Astros side for a long time. I know that Alex says that it's JV day tomorrow. Let's bounce back. So it's always a good day when Justin Verlander's on the mound. So I know Samuel says that Bregman needs to get dropped. They might need to get 1 or 2 bats at the deadline. Obviously, bullpen arm can't be ruled out. I think that the Astros are not going to be adding like a big bat. They may add another bench bat, but I don't think that they'll be looking at dropping Bregman. I think that they're going to give him a chance to fix himself. I'm sorry to say that, but this guy can carry the team when he's right. So they're going to give him a chance to do that. So I know that a lot of people are asking, well, Bregman really needs to wake up. And then you have one question: would Bregman bat 250 this season? Well, what is he batting at this moment? He's batting 217 right now. So could he bat 250 this season? I say yes. If he can figure out what's going on with his swing, once he can figures that out, he can actually do it. It's just a matter of figuring out what's going on with him. So I just think it's going to take him a little bit of time. So I know Jalen says that possibly Bregman needs to go to the bottom of the lineup. It's either Bregman or Gurriel that everybody's picking on. And I know that the Astros have kind of given their confidence to both, and they're going to give them time. The Astros are still 35-20, guys. They still have one of the better records in the American League. Their pitching is carrying the team this year. This is weird. I know we're not used to this. We're used to this dynamic offense that carries the team, but this pitching is like carrying the team this year. And I know today was a bad day. Javier wasn't on top of his game, and then you had Neris with his epic meltdown in the 9th inning. But overall, this is whatever. So I don't think it's the Space City uniforms. I know somebody made a comment that it's the Space City uniforms. I actually like them. I don't like them every day, but I like them like for the Monday games. I think it's a different look. So, so let's see. All right. Yeah, I know that 2019 was pitching. Yes, 2019 was pitching. And if you look at 2005, that was pitching as well. But yeah, this team is kind of built at this team should have a good balance, but for some reason the offense is just not dominating like you should. But hey, they had 3 home runs today. You had Altuve with his what was it? His 5th home run of the leadoff home run of the year. And I think it was his 6th leadoff home run of the year. And now he's actually 5th all time with leadoff home runs in Astros history. So that's awesome. So that's something to kind of look at right now. And he's still building up his Hall of Fame career. The Astros have still won 26 of their last 31 games versus the Mariners at Minute Maid Park. So that's something to look at. And then Kyle Tucker is hitting really good with gloves now. And he got how many hits did he get today? He got 3 hits today with the gloves, and you can even see him mouth at one point during the game today. He was like, it's got the glove. It's about the glove. So you had Altuve with 3 hits, Brantley with 3 hits, Tucker with 3 hits. You had McCormick with the home run, and you even had the crowd, the guys in right field. I believe Brett went to the game, and he was in the not the right field, but the right corner field. They're out there chanting Chaz, and doing something like this. And you would have to wonder, does that get distracting as a player? But well, if they rank 16th in the league and scoring runs, that means they're kind of in the middle of the pack. I know the offense is not what they should be. I'm not saying they're where they need to be, but they score enough runs to do it. This is actually their 2nd loss of the season when scoring 4 runs. So that's kind of the bad part of this game. So Pena, is he in a slump? I don't think he's in a slump he's in a little slump, but in 7 games versus Mariners this season, he was batting .375 with 5 extra base hits and 6 RBIs. So I was hoping that he would kind of wake up against them, but it's just one game, guys. Let's not freak out about this. Let's not just totally worry about this one game. And he, like Mr. Corona says, he's a rookie. He's going to go through the ebbs and flows. It's fine. I'm not worried about him. I'm really not too worried about Bregman, because even though he went 0 for 3 today, he still got on base. He still got on base 2 times. He's still walking. He's still got the good the pitch selection. He's just not able to get to the ball at this time. But once he's able to, watch out. You even saw Gurriel get a walk today, and he stole a base. So these guys are still seeing the pitches. It just Gurriel's. I don't think Gurriel is done. I don't know what needs to happen with Gurriel, but Bregman's OPS is still 718. Gurriel's OPS is 622. If you're asking me which one I'm more worried about, I would say Gurriel at this point. He is older. So I would that's something I would be a little bit more worried about. But overall, Gurriel maybe should be dropped. But at this point, if Pena is struggling a little bit, let me see what he's done in his last 7 games. His last 7 games, he's batting 185 with a 267 on base percentage. But in the last 15 games, I don't think this is including today's game. But in the last 15 games, he's batting 268 with 1 home run, 3 RBIs, and with an on-base percentage of 305. In his last 30 games, he's batting 294 with 5 home runs, 17 RBIs with an on-base percentage of 333. Yes, he may be in a little mini slump, but I'm not too worried about him. So, so I think I'll address this real quick, and then I need to look at tomorrow's game. So somebody asked who goes down when Myers comes back. It's most likely going to be Jose Siri, especially with how Chas McCormick's been playing recently. That's just a feeling I have. I mean, I love what Jose Siri can offer, not just defensively, but he just seems to have this presence on the field, and he's that go-getter. And I just think that he can, but at the same time, you can always bring him up if there's an injury or if you need somebody, you can always bring him up. I just think Chas McCormick has earned his keep at this point. So let's go and take a look at Tuesday's game, which is going to be Chris Flexon. And I'm going to go ahead and honor Brett and not do the whole Flexon thing tonight. But Flexon is 2-6 on the season with a 4.55 ERA with 40 strikeouts. You have Justin Verlander with a 6-2 record and 2.23 ERA with 61 strikeouts. And if you look at, of course, Alvarez, Mr. I do it everything, has 2 home runs against him with 5 RBIs. He's batting 400. Jeremy Pena is batting 500 in 6 at-bats. And one more player, let's go with Kyle Tucker. In 13 at-bats, he's batting 308. Against Justin Verlander, you have Ty France with 1 home run, batting 500 in 10 at-bats. Then you have Taylor Trammell, who's got 1 home run and 3 at-bats, and Jesse Winkler with 1 home run and 10 at-bats, but he's only batting 200 against not Jeremy Pena, but Justin Verlander. So this is 1 loss. This was a weird game from Christian Javier all the way to the 9th inning. But the bullpen in between, you have to give it to the rest of the guys. They did what they needed to do. So I'm not going to stress out about this game. I'm not going to worry about this game. I'm not going to lose any sleep about this game. But this was just one of those weird games where Dusty Baker got thrown out and he wasn't even arguing about it. He's just like, okay, well, I mean, that slipped. So, but anyway, so that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. And we'll be back tomorrow. Brett and I will be back tomorrow with hopefully talking about a Astros victory. Justin Verlander took care of business, and we won't be worrying about all this crap that we saw in the 9th inning today, 9th inning on Sunday. Hopefully we'll have a clean 9th inning, because that's what we like over here at the Locked On Astros podcast. And thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Go and subscribe to us on YouTube and listen to us on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check us out, and we'll see you tomorrow. Go Astros.